much for coming, and thank you to the Art Association for hosting us at this event. We're a company called the Convivia. We set the table for banquets, and this event is meant to evoke the kind of pleasant fellowship and familial feeling of a 19th century salon, where people would get together and they would entertain each other with talking, with reading the most recent things that had been written, or reading ancient classics, and just enjoying time together and entertaining each other. So that's what we're about, and there are several of us here working together. I'd like to first call to the stage our Anglo-Saxon bard. His name is Hellman. Ben is by day an English teacher on the North Shore, and he's a great, as I am, a great lover of the Anglo-Saxon period in art and in literature. And his special passion is an epic called Beowulf, which some of you may remember from school. But maybe you don't remember it quite like this. Instead of just a text with words black ink on a white page or in a paperback book like it might be some other kind of work of literature, Ben is working hard to recreate that epic the way it would have been delivered to people initially, which was orally. And not only orally, but in a voice that's a combination of singing and chanting, sometimes both of those, sometimes one and then the other. And a poet would accompany himself, always a hymn, would accompany himself on a special lyre. And Ben has brought with us his authentic replica Anglo-Saxon lyre, which is based on archaeological finds. And it's been kind of reconstructed by musicologists, and as is the text of what he's going to perform today. It is partly worked by himself to imitate, as well as we can construct from the text itself and from the work of musicologists, what a bardic performance might actually have sounded like. So he's going to do a little bit from the beginning of the poem, sort of set it up. And Beowulf has 3 major struggles in it. He's going to give you just a little bit of a taste of the very first one, which is Beowulf and Linda. Okay, Ben, go.
We have learned of the war days in the olden days, of their clan kings, their bravery, how those heroes did deeds of glory. King Hrothgar was given such success in battle, honor in war, that his men eagerly served him, until the young band of warriors grew into a mighty host. It came into Hrothgar's mind that a hall house be built by men. Oh, that was good kuning. That was a good king. He wished to command a great mead hall, which the sons of men should hear of forever, and within it to share out to young and old all God gave him, except the common land and lives of men. Then, I heard, the word was commissioned widely from peoples in many lands throughout this middle earth to furnish this hall for his folk. Soon it came to pass that it was fully finished. The best of royal halls. Hrothgar named it Heorot, he whose words had command everywhere. Hrothgar kept his vows. Beagas dalde, rings he dealt out, riches at the feasts. The whole towered high and horn-gabled. So the Lord's men lived in joys happily, until one began to execute atrocities. A fiend in hell. That Ellengast impatiently endured a dreary time. He who dwelt in darkness, he that heard the happiness loud in the hall every day. The harmony of the harp, the sweet song of the poet. This Grimagast was called Grendel, infamous Meac Stoppa, he who held the moors, fen and desolate stronghold, the lands of the Feevilkin. The wretched creature ruled for a while, since the Creator had condemned him with the clan of Cain, because Cain slew Abel. Cain did not enjoy that feat. For his crime, the ruler drove him away from mankind. The eternal Lord avenged that killing. From Cain awoke misbegotten offspring. Eotimus und Ulva und Orkneas, also Gigantes, who strove with God for a long time. He gave them that reward, their reward for that. When night came, he went to visit and see the high house, how they fared, the ringdames, after the beer feast. He found them therein the noble company, slumbering after the feast. They knew no sorrow. The misery of men. That damned creature, savage and cruel, grim on Grady, was soon ready, and from their rest seized 30 thanes. From there he went home, proud in plunder, heading back, slaughter full, to seek his shelter. Then in the dark of dawn, before the day, Grendel's goothcraft was revealed to the men. So after their evening joy, they raised up lament, a great cry in the morning. The mighty chieftain, the prince, old and good, sat in sorrow. The great mighty one suffered, felt sorrow for his thanes, when they beheld the tracks of the foe, of the wicked ghoul. That hardship was too strong. Loth and lonesome. Nor was it a longer time, but after a single night, that Grendel did greater slaughter, violence, and viciousness, and it grieved him not. He was too intent on it. Then it was easy to find the man who would seek rest somewhere else, further away, a bed among the outbuildings, when it was made clear to him, told by clear proof, the enmity of he who controlled the hall. A man kept himself further and safer, he who shunned that feud. Thus Grendel ruled and fought against right, one against all, until the finest of houses stood empty. Mournful ballads made it known to men of many kingdoms of Grendel's long persecution of King Hrothgar. A hero, then, among the Geatish people, heard of Grendel's crimes. He was at that time the strongest man on earth, noble and mighty. He ordered a wave crosser be prepared, a good one. He said he wished to seek King Hrothgar, that mighty clan chief, over the Swan Road. Urged by the wind, it flew like a bird. The worthy one had chosen champions from the Geatish people, the boldest he could find. 15 together, the men bore into the bosom of the boat, bright arms and armor. The fellows shoved off in a well-braced ship. They came marching straight to Heorot Hall in their grim gear, sea-weary. Then the renowned one, that proud prince of the Geatish nation, spoke. We are King Hegelic's table companions. Beowulf is my name. And now, against Grendel, I am bound to settle the affair with the troll, with that terrible creature. I request one favor, that you do not refuse me, King of the Danes, that I alone, with my company of heroes, cleanse Heorot. Then the treasure-giving king with wizened hair was joyful. The guardian of the folk heard in Beowulf firmly resolved intent. He accepted Beowulf's offer. There was the laughter of heroes. The noise made melody. Words were joyful. Since I was able to raise a hand and shield, I never before entrusted to any man this best of houses. Keep it now, and hold it. Focus on glory. Show great valor. Keep watch against the enemy. If you survive this bold task with your life, your desires will lack for nothing. Then Hrothgar, protector of the Shieldings, went with his band of heroes out of the hall. The glorious king had appointed a special hall guardian, Eoten Werd Abead. Beowulf kept the ogre watch. Indeed, the Prince of the Geats keenly trusted in his prodigious power. In his maker's favor, when he took from himself burnished corselet, helm from head, gave his adorned sword, the choicest of armors, to his retainer, and commanded him to guard his battle gear. The good man then spoke words of oath. Noich me an heroasmun na grantalie guthye weorka, gona grindel hine. I don't count myself poorer in works of war than Grendel himself. He knows not the fine art of armed combat, that he may strike me back, hew my rimmed shield, although he is renowned for malicious works. Therefore, I shall not slay him with my sword, deprive of life, though I am fully able. The Holy Lord will allot glory, as seems fitting to him. The war-bold one then bent himself down. The bolster received the earl's cheek, and round him many brave seamen sank down in hall slumber. More under mistleodum Grendel gongen, godesura bär. Then from the moor, under the misty cliffs, Grendel came, bearing God's ire. The vile ravager meant to snare a sample of mankind in the high hall. Lord, under Wokenum, he waded under the clouds until he saw it shining, the gold hall of men. It was not the first time that he had sought Hrothgar's home, but never in his life, before or after, did he find harder luck, hardier whole things. He came then to the hall, who had been barred from its merriment. Now the iron-banded door rushed open at a tap of his hands. Enraged, he ripped open the mouth of that building, advancing angrily on the patterned floor. From his eyes issued leocht fire, an unlovely light, more like flame. He saw many warriors in the hall, a sleeping company of kinsmen, a great host of warriors gathered together. Then his heart laughed, now that a hope of a full feast had befallen him. The cruel beast intended to deprive life from body, from each one, ere the day came. It was not his fate after that night to partake of mankind again. The kinsman of Hygelac, that mighty man, beheld how the cruel killer would act by means of sudden attack. That the monster did not think to delay, but at the first occasion he quickly grasped a sleeping warrior, rended him without restraint. But Bonloken, blood egrum drank, he bit into the bone locks. From the veins drank blood, swallowed great chunks. Soon he had the unliving one all devoured. Fet on forma, feet and hands. Then he stepped closer. Taking with his hands the stout-hearted warrior from his rest, reached towards him, the foe with his palm. Beowulf grasped Grendel's evil intentions, and grabbed Grendel's arm. At once, the shepherd of atrocities discovered that he had not met in Middle-earth in the expanse of the world a greater hand-grip in any other man. In his heart grew a fear for his life. He was eager to leave, to flee into the darkness, to seek the devil's concourse. But he couldn't get away sooner. His situation was not like any he had ever met in the days of his life. The kinsman of Angelic, that good man, then remembered his vow to the king and held him fast. Fingers burst. The troll was trying out, but the earl stepped forward. The infamous one meant to escape anywhere he might. Away from there, flee to his secret places in the fen. He knew his finger's might was in his enemy's power. That was a bitter journey the harmed Scatha had taken to Herod. The noble hall broke into a din. Enraged were both fierce hall wars. The hall resounded. Then it was a great wonder that the wine hall withstood the fight of war fighters, that it did not fall to the ground, the fair hold. But it was so firm, so skillfully smid, inside and out, with iron bands. Many mead benches, adorned with gold, broke away from the floor where the enemy struggled. I heard it was not thought before by the sages of the Shieldings that by any means any man could break it up. So splendid and bone-adorned, cleverly cleave it asunder, not unless fire's embrace swallowed it in inferno. A sound rose up. New, nearby, the Northanes stood in ghastly horror, and each one of them who heard the weeping, the terrible screaming, a joyless sound, goddess Ansak and Helle Havdon bewailing his wound. He held him fast, who was of men in might the strongest on this day in his life. The protector of earls had no reason to release alive the murderous guest, nor allow his life days counted as an advantage to any people. There were many warriors of Beowulf, brandished their ancestral blades, and on each side thought to hew, to seek the soul. They wished to defend their lord's life, that legendary leaders, if they could do so. They did not know, when they joined the fray, the bold-minded battlemen, that the troll had cursed victory weapons, the choicest of irons. None at all could greet Grendel. The sin Scyther had charmed the cutting edge of every blade. His life-severing was bound to be wretched. On that day, the strange one would journey far away into the administration of fiends. Then he, miseries in his mind, he who before many atrocities committed on mankind, he who fought with God, found that his limb would not obey, but that the daring kinsman of Angelic had him by the hand. Each was by the other loathed while living. Body pain he felt, that awful ogre tormentor. On his shoulder a great wound appeared. Seono unsprungen, bursten Banlocken, the sinews unsprung, the bone locks burst. To Beowulf was given more glory. Grendel had to flee from there, sick unto death, under the hills of the fen, to seek his joyless abode. He knew it more surely that was his life's end. They had arrived, the day count of his days. For the Danes, all wishes were come to pass after that bloody onslaught. He had them cleansed, he who had come from afar, shrewd and strong-minded, rescued from the ruin, the hall of Hrothgar. He rejoiced in his night's work. In valor from great deeds, the Geatman's leader had fulfilled his oath to the East Danes. So too anguish, all remedy, grievous sorrow that they had endured, and in hard distress had to suffer, no small misery. It was a clear sign, when the battle bold one placed Hund, Arm und Axla, Grendles Grappa, the hand, arm, and shoulder, Grendel's grip, under the gaping hall.